Glenn, a little bit different from the ice rink, but when you reflect back going to 2007, you were not with the team. Remember where you were in 2007?
I was in Washington, actually. Yeah, I was in Washington, and then 2008, I think I was in Finland. So this was certainly you followed it. Vancouver being my hometown, and to be able to follow the Memorial Cup here and the results was certainly a lot of fun. And then to see these kids now to come back here, and a lot of them have been successful, and in fact, they've all been successful in different ways of life. And to see the kids yesterday walk in and see each other for the first time since likely their Memorial Cup the time was a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty gratifying for the players, but also for yourself, getting to sit and talk to some of the guys as well.
Yeah, it is. I think for this particular, at least last night, that was their time to be together. And I think for all of us here that have come to the scene, come to the party a little bit later, it was for us just to kind of bow out, make ourselves seen, and to be able to get a feel of what these kids did and what they went through, and to be able to take that to our group now is going to be a real benefit.
How do you move what you saw from the boys last night, sort of focus and take that to the boys for the season coming ahead?
Yeah, we talk about it so much in sports and how important it is in being a team, and to really support your group and to do these things, but to be in a situation to win and be the best team in all of Canadian junior hockey. You really do have to have a special group, and it showed me when we go through the evaluation process starting at Bantam, or if we are getting into the trade market where we're going to add some players to our team, these players really do have to, first of all, A, enjoy the experience, and B, want to be part of a group that's something bigger than just themselves being a Vancouver Giant, and that is to go out and to be successful and to win. And when you see these kids walk into a room that they haven't seen each other for 10 years, and you see why they could actually win a Canadian championship.
It'd be impressive to see the boys all back together on the ice, going around skating together and see what they could do.
You'd have a pretty good team, I think, and a lot of these guys have done very well. Not just our kids that you see in the National Hockey League. There's some of them have carved some pretty good careers for themselves in Europe and around the world, and now it's interesting. We're starting to get some calls from these guys that they want to get involved in the coaching side of things. So it's normally it's an indicator when you have a team that wins. They like the game, they enjoy the game, they enjoy the life of being in the rink for long hours, and now to be able to see them take the success that they've had on the ice and to transition that into other jobs in hockey is going to be something that's certainly welcomed.
Was it a difficult change from you going from the playing side of it into the coaching side of it?
No, I was at a point where I had actually had enough, and it was a matter of I did everything I could to play as long as I possibly could, and once I had decided to make the transition, I wanted to make sure that I was staying in the game in some capacity. I applied for lots of different jobs after my final season and in different areas of hockey, and I was fortunate enough that Pat Quinn, Brian Burke gave me an opportunity to work for Vancouver, and it allowed me to get involved in the coaching side of things, and for that I've been forever grateful. And here I am 40 or whatever since 1992 I think was my last year, and still being lucky enough to be involved in it.
When you were going into those meetings with the two gentlemen you just mentioned, do you remember what the questions were like that they posed to you, and how you had to answer them to sell yourself?
It was a lot like what we just talked about. Both Brian and Pat really did believe in that. They were explaining to me that you've just come from a place where team is very important, and you likely look at the other side of it as coaches as being individuals, and what they expressed upon us is that we're a team also, and the successful teams, the successful franchises, the scouting staff gets along with the pro scouts, get along with the amateur scouts, and the amateur scouts are all in unison with the upper management, and everything seems to work together, and that was impressed upon me. And the group that I was lucky enough to come here were all great team guys. We had in that coaching group, we had Jack McElhargy was coaching our farm team, Stan Smeal, Kurt Fraser were here, Ronnie DeLorme was the head scout, and Mike Penny here was in the management group. So they were all people that were well invested in the Canuck organization, and I learned from some really good people that really put family first, and it made it for a great environment. Not only for that, it made it great for my wife and the gals in our group here, and from the Quinns and the Ricky Lees and all of these people just made it really great for for us.
Yeah, because you guys are away from home an awful lot, and so it's really important to have that continuity with all the families so they all get together.
Yeah, we are, and that was Pat's deal. I mean, I never really knew what happened behind closed doors on the other side, and lots of times in a game, the players come in and they're throwing equipment and doing these things, and you kind of always wondered what coaches do, and I think they're a little more cerebral. There's certainly we get upset at times and upset at management, and as a manager, you certainly get upset, but it's not like somebody's punched you in the head that night, or you've been involved in an altercation, or you've had a goalie rob you on a save. It's you get upset, but you go about your business. And it was interesting to watch Pat because he was always in control. And after the game, he would get his book out, write down his thoughts, and we would go our own separate way. And by the time we all got together in the Board of Governors room, he would come in and the game would be parked. And it was about enjoying each other's company and what are we going to do moving forward, and get ready to be relentless and to change the things that we went through here last night, and to see that, and to see the composure, and to see what the emphasis were after, however, if it was a win or a loss, was a great learning experience for me.
Looking forward to the upcoming season?
I am. We have a little bit of work left to do here. We have the NHL draft. We want to make sure that we're there to support our players that are draft eligible, and then we have a real quick few days there to take the information, the last bit of information we get from the draft, and apply that to our import draft. And once the import draft is over, there's a little bit of a downtime. I mean, you still have to man the phones and make sure that you're keeping an eye on your computer and doing those things, but it will give us all a chance to park last year and to transition from last year and start to prepare ourselves for what we feel is going to be a great platform year, and to be able to get our franchise here into the playoffs. And once we do that, we really do believe that we have a group of talented guys and relentless guys that are going to do something in the playoffs.
Langley Event Center a good home for the team?
It is. It's a great marriage between our place and Ladner. We were extremely lucky to have our spot at the Ladner Leisure Center. The kids are nice and close to school. It's a great environment for kids, especially kids that are coming from, say, a prairie town of 10,000 people, to be able to come into this, and it's not much different from what they're used to, and be able to go on 36 times a year to go down into Langley, to go into that rink. It's been a terrific transition for us. We love the building. We love our market over there. It seems like it's a real good hockey market. Lots of young fans, lots of young hockey fans. We enjoy the support that we get from the event center itself, and we're really happy with what's going on.
Lastly, you've just hired a new athletic therapist, Mike Bernstein. That's got to be a great addition for you.
Yeah, it is. Mike is someone I had started off. Both Mike and I started again with the Canucks. He was a young kid in Hamilton, and I was the goalie coach, so I'd had an opportunity to work with Mike for quite a few years. And Mike's situation is not a lot unlike what mine was. Comes a point in time that you kind of park this. Burn the boats. I'm doing everything I possibly can to be an NHL coach and being an NHL trainer, and I just said there comes a time where sometimes you just put other things into the mix, and I think Mike's going to be really happy here. He does a great job. He has a real good name in the community. He's wonderful with the players, and he just really is able to have a great relationship with the players, get them to do what they need to do to get healthy, and at the end of the day, he's certainly extremely qualified for this position, and we're lucky. And part of that is Ron has been able to put together a good product here, a good environment for people to work, but we also believe the city and where we are lends itself to people wanting to be here, and that's for Mike, it was coming down to having an opportunity to stay in White Rock and be with his family and to work here and work in the community really played in our favor to get a real good person here.
No kidding. Tsawwassen Spring, how's your golf game?
Non-existent. I used to enjoy playing golf a lot. Between we have some different things that we need to do, family commitments. I have a real strong love for being out in the ocean and fishing. I better not say that when my owner has a golf course, but he has lots of people around here. But there's only so much spare time, and I think once I can put a few more years under my belt, and then we'll be able to enjoy all of these things year round.
Glenn, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always fun.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.